Hey, what's up, witches? It's Luna, the Zen Witch, finally delivering a video on the new moon for tomorrow, February 11th, 2021 at 2:05 p.m. Whoo, baby, are you feeling it? I sure am. This week I've been through migraines and computer problems and high anxiety and terrible executive dysfunction and all kinds of wonderful things that are to be expected when you've got Mercury retrograding across a wad of planets in Aquarius. So let's take a look. Look at all that Aquarian energy here. Look at this 6-planet gang in Aquarius through all of the decanates. We've got Saturn in the first decanate, we've got Jupiter, Venus, and Mercury in the second, and the new moon in the third. So we are spanning the full influence of all the air signs. Of course, the first decanate is the Aquarius decanate, the second is the Gemini decanate, and the third is the Libra decanate. So all of the air signs are involved here. Okay, let's take a look. First of all, the new moon itself is unaspected. There are no planets or bodies within from 21 degrees to 25 degrees. Pluto doesn't count because that's just a parallel. That's not a major aspect at all. So we have an unaspected new moon in Aquarius. That gives you the opportunity, if you're doing magical and ritual work, to really kick something off cleanly. Something that is Aquarian in nature, so something that is new, something that is updating, that is innovating, that is a fresh start for whatever your structure is, and something with a humanitarian purpose. So any kind of that spell work is going to have clean, clear energy during this full moon, or during this new moon. Sorry about that. We have an exact Jupiter-Venus conjunction, the greater and lesser benefic, exactly conjunct in Aquarius. So there's a lot of good, beneficial energy available. We have, let's see, Mercury is trining the North Node. So we can actually move forward through how we're reviewing things. So, I mean, if you look at the combination of this Aquarius new moon and an Aquarius retrograde Mercury, with Mercury, we're looking at how do we update, how do we revise things, how do we fix things that haven't been functioning quite right since the last Mercury retro, and then that new moon that allows us to kick off the change. Let's see what we got here. We've got a Mars squaring Mercury. So very active minds, very active thoughts, which aren't necessarily practical with Mercury being retrograde. So just be aware that we could have particularly busy minds jumping all over the place, and maybe do some meditation, some focus work, some binaural beat work to calm those thoughts down. We also still have the Saturn-Uranus square, so we're still grappling with the old way versus the new way, tradition versus innovation, and kind of struggling with this internally. So let's look at just, how we move forward, and again, start visualizing the outcome. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to end up when we get to the end of this Mercury retrograde cycle? And just balance that out within yourselves. What's worth keeping, and that is what has worked across the board. And then look at the Uranus side, which is what needs updating for the greater good, for the highest good. Okay, I think that's kind of all I have to say here. We've got the Neptune-Mars are sextiling, and that just brings opportunity to really infuse a lot of energy into your spiritual practice, to bring spirit and a more spiritual vibe into your physical activity. So good time for things that combine the physical and the spiritual, like a yoga workout. Okay, I think that's it. Short and sweet. It's an intense one. There is absolutely no doubt about it. I'll talk about that a little bit. Just all the Aquarian energy, it's fixed energy, so it's powerful. Super, super powerful. And it really just takes us, the ruler of that chunk of planets, squaring Saturn, says it's hard for us to kind of move with it, that we're just sort of parked and we're feeling limited. We're feeling like there's not a lot we can do with this energy. So it's kind of riding us like a bad pony. We got to update. I got to move forward. Something needs to change. But then Uranus being squared by Saturn says it's going to be hard to change. It's going to be slow and difficult to do. So as I feel like I've been saying for a lot of new and full moon charts over the last few months, a lot of frustrated energy. Uranus-Saturn square is frustrated ambition, or ambitions that we just can't quite see to fruition because something happens that sort of blows them up, something unexpected, unpredictable. And then, when we try to bring that innovative energy, which is Uranian, we get the square to Saturn, which is I just feel limited in what I'm able to do. So take advantage of the Mars-Neptune sextile, work that out on a spiritual level and a physical level together, get that energy out of your system. Let's see. I am not going to give the node the trine to Venus and Jupiter because that's 4 degrees of orb, and you know that when we're looking at transit, we only give 2 degrees of orb. So that doesn't count. Let's see. We have Chiron sextiling Saturn. That means that there's an opportunity to look back at your past, at your history, your heritage, your tradition, to see how that applies to the nature of your woundedness. Maybe the traditions of your family, if there was, very strongly conservative tradition. Oh my God. Thanks, Mercury. Traditional religious views, perhaps, and you had a more New Age approach, that could have been a source of woundedness for you. Maybe there was just limited resources in your family, which Saturn would represent, and that brought about woundedness. But it's really a good time to look at, I guess, the legacy of woundedness. We understand now, psychologists understand that a lot of our trauma is generational. It is passed down through family systems because we are trained in those systems, and then we become creatures of those systems. So, a lot of Aquarius energy, that Uranus square Saturn, can talk about really this tension generated by the need to blow up those systems, by the need to dismantle those dysfunctional, wounding systems. So Uranus squaring Saturn and then Saturn being sextiled by Chiron really does give us an opportunity to look at those patterns and say, I am going to be the one that literally blows up the pattern. I'm not going to let this structure continue. I'm going to go boom and be the one that's the pattern breaker. So that's also a very good way to use the energies of this new moon, is maybe kick off that journey of looking back into your history and seeing how dysfunctionality, codependency, how trauma has been passed down through the generations. All right. Well, I think that might be all I need to say about it. Let's take a quick look before I go. Might take a minute to load here. I want to take a look at the breakdown by signature, if there is one. So we've got 0 fire. Wow, 0 fire in this chart. Lots and lots and lots of air, and as you can see, predominance of air and fixity. Obviously, it's an Aquarius chart signature. How could it be anything else with 6 planets in Aquarius? But no fire says that there's not a lot of anger, also not a lot of passion and motivation around this very intellectual energy. So you can really do a lot of head work around this. So the frustration we feel isn't going to be, angry frustration. It's going to be a stirring up of the intellect and a stirring up of ideas, restless mind. I think there's going to be a lot of restless mind going on. So see if you can point that mind towards how to move yourself forward out of patterns of old generational trauma, and how you can update and imagine a new way going forward for this. And then, pulling in those spiritual tools like tarot and oracles and meditation and ritual and all of these wonderful things, that you can use as well. So there's a lot of usable energy here. The square between Uranus and Saturn and the Mars-Mercury square certainly give us energy that we can use. Squares and oppositions generate energy, remember. Trines and sextiles do not. Trines and sextiles just lie there waiting for you to see that they're there and pick them up and use them as the freebies they are. But squares and oppositions generate energy. So with those two squares going on, we certainly have abundant energy to use to kick off this new moon cycle. Again, I apologize for not getting this out earlier, but whoo-wee, you know what a week it's been. So I hope this helps you plan your ritual work and your magical work for tomorrow, and helps explain some things that might have had you tearing your hair out this week. All right, you guys, I will see you tonight on my live stream at 7:30 Eastern. Until then, this is the Zen Witch. Blessed be.